Hey folks, Elaine Marolakos Edelson here with AstrologyMojo. Want to help you get your mojo back. So we're going to be talking about Saturn in Pisces retrograde today, and it goes retrograde every year. Got my notes in front of me. So come by, say hello, and let's talk about. I kind of see you well. Okay. I got ghosting in my chair. Anyway, so Saturn, what does it represent? Well, Saturn represents the part of you that wants to be the boss. It's also the part of you that sets the structure, the stage for how to accomplish that. And Saturn, traditionally in astrology, represents, it doesn't do anything to you, but it represents the part of you that really wants to be in charge. If I'm not the authority, then who is? And so Saturn energy is often defers to authority figures and or takes on the extra load for other people. So whether you have Saturn in a planetary placement, I don't know what's happening. I keep getting notifications. I hear like blinking and I see blinking and I hear like sound notifications and I don't know who's talking to me. Okay. Anyway, doesn't matter. We're here together now. So Saturn's that part of us that wants to really solidify that dream come true. The symbol of Saturn is a goat climbing, a mountain goat climbing all the way up to the peak. Steady, sure, continuous, but the tail is in the ocean. And that Saturn is in Pisces is a wonderful experience, really, to show that you have what it takes to get you there, but you also are going to bring the dream into reality. Not to say that they are opposite energies, but they feel like opposite energies. So Pisces is more nebulous, the dream, the illusion, sometimes the addiction, and the part of us that really doesn't, we can dream it. And like, I wish that were happening. I love that show. I wish I could kick butt like a martial artist, but never applying, where Saturn would be, I'm going to train every day. I'm going to be perfect, in that ideological way of perfection, which you already are because you were created. Now, let's say it like this. You exist in a state of perfection, moving toward compassion and wholeness in as many moments as possible. So in Saturn, that responsibility thing going on in you, like, I should really, I should have called them. I'll take it on. I'll do it for them. I feel bad. There's a lot of piety in the Saturn energy, a lot of self-flagellation, it's my fault. I'm going to whip myself and beat myself up because I should have known better. I could have done it for them. And no, you can't always. So Saturn has that, everything has a dual nature to it when we describe it through human words and terms. And part of that dual nature is I want to aspire to be the most, the best, the highest. And then Pisces, guided by a Neptune, is that energy of, we already are. We're spiritual beings. We're beautiful. We're wonderful. We can create anything we like, but now we're going to combine the two. And so during this retrograde period, and that is June, the end of June, or July, basically. Last year it was June, but July through, wait, let me just look at my notes. Through, and I'm looking at two other retrogrades too. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. That's such a Piscean thing. Look, wow, what happened? And then, you just keep going. Saturn is stay focused. Okay, I'm going to stay focused. My ears are ringing. I want to show you what it looks like. I'm going to presente mode. Share the screen. La la la. Window. There it is. Ta-da! Okay. So here, this is no particular chart, really. It's just a chart for Sedona, but here's Saturn in Pisces retrograde. What's interesting is that Neptune, which we talked about last week, in Pisces, also retrograde. These are the two planets in astrology that represent karma. Now, hang on a second, screech to a halt. Karma does not mean you lack something, you owe something, you have to compensate for something that you did wrong or that they did wrong and you're owed something. Karma, dharma is the path and karma is the action on the path. Ta-da. Ta-da. And that's it. That's all we're looking at. That's it. So when we look at two heavy hitters known as karmic actions, Saturn and Neptune, in Pisces, and Neptune guides Pisces, we're looking at really bringing to earth, really formulating what is the plan? What was that dream you had that you wanted to enact? What was that thing you wanted to do that makes your heart sing? But yet you just don't want to put the time or energy into. Most people will put the time and energy into what they think they're supposed to do. That's the negative aspect of Saturn. Oh, it's my responsibility. Yeah, I have to work 9 to 5 for 40 years and then collect pension and have car insurance. There's nothing right or wrong about it. It's just, okay, what about that dream you had to play the piano? And it doesn't have to be lofty. It could just be, oh, I wanted to travel, but I should save I should give it to them for Christmas. Nah, you know what? I'll just wait. So in essence, the Saturn energy, just like the Piscean Neptune energy, both have this stigma of waiting for it to happen, waiting for it to come, waiting for it to be the right time. And so I want to cover the houses as Neptune, as retrograde energies work in polarities, bringing, any retrograde is about looking at the past. Anything that starts with a re, it's like review, release, renegotiate, renege, recall, the re in Latin means to step back. So we're going to step back into this retrograde between now and November, and Neptune is retrograde through early December. So the next, what are we in? July, August, September, October, November. So 4 to 5 months, we are looking at how can we reestablish a connection to the part of us that is the dreamer, and then create an action plan where we are literally making matter. I mean, we're always making matter anyway. So what's the matter? You're the matter, and your matter is divine. That's what the Piscean energy reminds us of. And then the Saturn energy is, well, let's make an industry out of it. How can we make a profession out of it? How can we solidify it and make it real and have it be in this reality with, gravity and weight and productivity and a standard of living. So basically, the idea is the Neptune Piscean energy, and Saturn has the energy of let's concretize it. How can we discipline ourselves to make this happen? So I want you to look at any area of your life right now, and whether you're watching me live on a replay in YouTube, on Facebook, please come by, say hello, let me know that you're here, and share, like, subscribe, get the word out. But I'm going to cover the houses in tandem. So 1st and 7th. So here's the 1st house is opposing the 7th house. 2nd house opposes the 8th house. Considering we go counterclockwise in an astrological chart. Okay. So when we look at the 7th and the 1st houses, if you have a transiting Saturn covering the 1st house or the 7th house, then the energy has a lot to do with finding your independence and releasing childhood trauma in a nutshell. First house to the seventh house. How do I maintain integrity in my reality and also be part of a partnership, whether it's a romantic partnership, marital partnership, business partnership? Maybe you have a YouTube channel and you want to be fair to your people, but yet you're not giving yourself the time because way back in your childhood you were taught, oh, you got to give it. You got to give it to get it back. And, or it's a karmic thing or vice versa, or that you are the partner who has all the needs, but yet where's your independence? Where do you stand out in the crowd on your own with support? It's not about extremes. It's about bringing the two together. Does that make sense? Hey, Sasha. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you too, Sasha. So let's just say, and again, this is a general chart. This is not your chart. So I want you to look inside your chart and see where is Saturn in Pisces retrograde transiting, not where you have it natally, where you were born with it, but where is it transiting? And you want to be able to look at, okay, if my Saturn and Neptune is transiting the seventh house or the first house, I really need to review what I was taught to believe about my worth and bringing myself to an independent place. Should I always rely on others, hide behind my partner or my business partners, or do I stand out in the crowd? Well, again, it's not an extreme. It's about harmonizing both. So take a look at your body. It holds memory. It holds trauma. It holds joy. And then look at it in relationship to who you are personality-wise and who you choose to be in a partnership, whether that's with your clients, a marital partner, a lover, a business partner. Okay, that's the first and seventh house combo. Now we're going to go to the second house, and the second house deals with income, but also what you value and your resources. The eighth house in astrology deals with joint ventures and how to make the partnership, a financial partnership, work with insurance matters, with investments of time, energy, sex, death, taxes. That's the eighth house. And if Saturn is transiting your eighth house right now, then you're looking at, do I have the Neptune Society set up for me just in case something happens and I can make my family's lives easier in case I pass from this world sooner than later? What kind of insurance do I have? Where am I going to invest my money? Why is everybody and their brother calling me to donate? And then if Saturn is transiting your second house, it's about, what's my worth? I think it's time I ask for a promotion or a raise. Why do I have trouble with that? Why don't I feel like I'm worth it? Why do I always scrape by with, eking out a living, but yet at Christmas or at birthdays, I will sell my shoes to give them the best thing, the best gift. So you want to look at your self-worth in the second house. Your self-worth in the second house affects your income potential. And if you're retired or you're a stay-at-home parent, then that's where we look at the eighth house. And it's like, because the eighth house also deals with not just insurance and joint resources. Those joint resources deal with a spousal income or inheritance. So second house, eighth house, we're looking at how much do you think you're worth financially? And how hard do you think you have to work? And the question is the thinking part. Is it okay to have someone give you something to make it easy? Is that okay? Do you have an addiction that lends itself to overspending or constantly giving but not allowing yourself to receive. So Sasha asks, how do we find where Saturn is transiting? You look to see where Pisces is between 12 and 19 degrees. So what is your rising sign, Sasha? So and we go by the rising sign, that sets the whole chart up. So if your rising sign is Leo at 29 degrees, then 12 to 19 degrees of Saturn is going to be in the 7th house. You see, so you're a Scorpio rising. So let's go here. Scorpio rising. I don't know what degree, but let's go here. So approximately 1, 2, 3, 4th and 5th houses are affected. Okay. I hope that answers your question. Okay. So let's move on to the 9th and 3rd house. So the 3rd house is all about inner beliefs, communication, siblings. With Saturn here transiting the 3rd house, you might have more dealings with a sister or a close friend who feels like a sister or a brother, whether they are half brother, sister, full-fledged family. Or you might be thinking, what am I thinking? What do I want to do? How do I want to express myself? Do I want to really start studying more about music or poetry, or how can I express myself more easily without feeling guilty about it? Saturn, again, the polarity, bringing in the opposite, would be the 9th house. And the 9th house axis to the 3rd house is the higher awareness and consciousness that you have, and higher education. So 3rd house is lower education. That means at-home study. Yeah, at-home study here too, but here is how you were originally taught to think and believe, how you were originally thought to be you in the world. Like, oh, no, we don't do that. How many times have I heard a parent say, what do you say when someone gives them a gift and the kid's like, thank you or please? It's like we're programmed to express a certain thing. Here's your Uncle Joe. Go give him a hug. And, you're 3 years old, 4 years old, and you don't know Uncle Joe. You've never met him. You never even heard about him. Why would you let this big stranger hug you? But, you're told what you're told. And so your form of expression now is undergoing an unraveling. And you're going to ask yourself, do I really believe that? Like my husband used to say, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'm like, well, number one, do you believe that you die? And number two, do you believe that you're going to sleep when you leave this earth? And he thought about it for like 3 seconds and he was like, no. I'm like, well, then why are you saying it? So stop the programmed chatter so that you can elevate your conscious awareness. This also deals with contracts and business partnerships, travel, foreign affairs, but higher consciousness is about, I think it's time I change the way my neurons are formed. I think it's time I change the part of me that says, I can't do it, or I have to take it on for everybody, or I'm only the teacher and I can't be the student, or I'm only the student. I'm only the student and I could never teach that. So it's about owning what you know, what you value, and what you perceive. And if what you perceive creates extremes or judgments against other people, it's time to relearn. It's time to rethink your position on humanity and your role in it. Okay. Now the 10th house and the 4th house in astrology is all about, well, the 10th house represents the paternal parent, and the 4th house represents the maternal parent. So we are looking at taking care of the parents. At this stage, if you have a Saturn transiting your 4th house, it might be you have a parent or grandparent who is older, ill, needs assistance, or you feel stifled by this person, and even if they're no longer, if they're off planet, and someone might say to you, you sound just like your mother, and you're offended by that, maybe because you carried on the torch and the pattern of being that, and it's not you any longer. Maybe it's because it's time to set a boundary to it. Saturn energy, again, it's in its extreme energy state. It represents the part of us that has zero boundary or is so walled up you can't reach them. So find the middle ground, and that is if you need to say no to somebody. I knew someone whose mother, and these were older women, whose mother always put down her daughter in public. You're not wearing that, are you? I mean, and these were like adults in their 70s and 90s. And you're not going to wear that, are you? So you want to be able to detach from, remember, Pisces energy can be addictive. So if you are wounded, you're bonded to the abuser. So now it's about letting go of that wound in the 4th house and the 10th house, and saying, you know what, I don't agree. Thank you so much for your input. And being neutral about it and working it out so there's no reaction. Because if there's a reaction, there's an emotional charge. And then you will carry this charge with you, and then someone else will trigger you, and you have that charge, and you'll trigger and have the charge, and you keep attracting the same kind of people. So, but this 4th house, 10th house axis can also be, I'm ready to retire. What are you ready to retire from? You have to think about, is it a career? Is it the role you have as a parent? Maybe now you're becoming a grandparent. Saturn represents the elder, oftentimes the masculine authority figure, the judge, the doctor, whether it's male or female or non-binary, it doesn't matter. It's the person who is perceived as the authority figure. And so are you that person now? Do you need to establish a boundary? If someone comes home to stay, I knew somebody who said to me last year, yeah, our son graduated college. He went off, he had a career, and then, COVID happened. He lost his job and he came home. It's been a year. I need him to go. So it's about setting boundaries in a way that represents your masculine, feminine side, regardless of your gender. Masculine is the proactive, feminine is the receptive, and about harmonizing that. I hope that helps. And also with dealing with the 4th house with Saturn, it could be you're fixing things like the plumbing with Neptune, Pisces, or the water systems, or you have a pool that leaks, or a hot tub or something that you want to install. So it's about really fixing what might not be working, updating. We're updating our neuroplasticity. We're learning to think in new ways. And then we look at our stuff and go, yeah, I'm going to donate it before it gets too old. I'm going to donate it before it breaks. I'm going to fix that thing and upgrade. So that's also the 4th house. Okay, now the 11th and the 5th houses. If Saturn is passing by the 5th house, you could be, between now and the end of the year, become a grandparent. Surprise! Or it could be that if you're a teacher, you might retire. The 11th house, Saturn, 5th house axis is all about family and your role as an elder, or the wisdom that you have gotten from your elders, and or a mentor. So the mentor would be more, the 11th house, but again, it pulls on the 5th house energy. So that could be, let's say you're at the end of your career, or you're working part-time, and you say, I really want to learn this thing. Now, 5th house is the fun house. It's sexuality, it's play, it's painting, singing, dancing, writing. Maybe you're saying, you know what, I have all these lyrics in my head, and I want to work together with a musician and, write a song. So you're collaborating with something that's intuitive, that's entertaining, but it's also you're making it real. I'm going to go into that recording studio. I'm going to go to that uh, college, whatever, night class, and I'm going to talk to the art teacher and talk about how can I become an aid to this class because I worked in the art industry. So you're going to take your talents and couple them with, oh, it's time to sit down with my grandchildren and teach them how to paint, or what the color wheel actually looks like and how to mix colors. You know, whether it's painting, writing, singing, dancing, it's taking your talents and collaborating. So in the 11th house, it's also collaborating with a group or a team where someone might call you in and say, we have so much respect for how much you know about medicine. That would be Pisces, about the holistic world, Pisces, about how to build a business, Saturn. Would you speak to our class? Would you speak to the upcoming graduates? Would you be a mentor? So that could be the 5th house, 11th house axis for you. But it's also about completing projects and winding down and having more fun. So think about that too, because it's not always about setting up work, although I'm a Capricorn rising. So my entire chart is guided by Saturn. And I don't ever see myself retiring. When I retire, it's when I leave the planet and then I go do something else and I'll serve in different ways. But no longer Saturn might have the silent motto of I serve at the sake of myself. But no longer do I do that. I no longer serve at the sake of myself. I serve to enrich others' lives, but never at the sake of myself. Sasha says, Capricorn moon. Well, I think that's the hardest moon to have, honestly. So Saturn is the one who it's like takes on the responsibility. Has to have the answers, can't let anybody see them cry. You know, it's like, got to work through it, got to push through it, got to keep going. Even if I feel like I'm the one who's causing the problem, I'm the one who's the mistake, I'm the one who can't get it done, I'm the one who's going to keep learning, and then put the burden on. But in Pisces, it's like saying, I'm going to meditate more and lighten up on myself. And then I want to sing a song instead of go write that report. I want to dance in the kitchen instead of making dinner for 12 people. Okay. So now, where was I? I got a little sidetracked. Oh, okay. So that's the 11th and the 5th house axis. Let's move on to the 6th house and the 12th house. Now, I think with Saturn at the 6th house, you have a standard of living. The 6th house represents community, health, the work that you do, lobbying, petitioning, and also that's for the community's sake. But if you're a lobbyist in a political forum, this is a really tough time because the political structures are breaking down. They are coming apart at the seams because it's about the people, not about the law that was originally made for the people. It doesn't apply anymore. This used to be the house of slaves. Slaves. Echo, 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 echo. It is that no longer. So if you are a slave to your work, if you are a slave to your health, and remember, your health is dependent upon how you think and what you consume, where you live. And then, you go to bat for your employer or your employee, and you want them to have fair wages. You want them to have health insurance, but you can't do it because Saturn. Not that the planet's doing it to you, but you're thinking, oh man, I'm already like in the red. I don't know how I can help these people. And then I'm reminded of a story I read once about a retired police officer in California. And he was a very honest guy. He worked hard. He did his best, but he saw the worst of humanity and he gave up hope. and he retired. And he said, what difference am I making? I'm like, I'm patrolling to keep the unruly from killing each other. And he had it. And so he came off, and he was really just kind of disillusioned with life. He had spent his entire life in law enforcement, but he saw the dredge of humanity. So he decided to get into his car. He had a pickup truck, and he said, I'm going to just take a trip. I'll go to Mexico. I'll just like take a little break, and I'll go to Mexico. And the whole time he was focused on, I'm not done. I want to help people. I don't know how. I tried it in law enforcement. What other ways are there that I could contribute? And he drove down to Mexico, and he saw people living in cardboard huts along the side of the road. And he stopped and said, what the heck is this? Wait, what? So he got to know these people, and these are people who are just they're good people, hardworking people. They couldn't afford to live where they used to live anymore. And so he rallied, he came back to the States, rallied with Habitat for Humanity and all these other donation type places. And they all came down with trucks, and they built these people houses, small, 2-3 room houses, but that's how he contributed. So when I see Saturn here in the 6th house across the 12th house, we'll get to this one last, but Saturn in the 6th house is, how can I contribute, but not at the sake of myself, but where it feels enriching? I will give you my last dime, but then I'm on the street asking for a dime. So that's not the pattern we want to look at. We want to look at, if you are that way and you're lobbying for something for your community, you have to take care of your health, number one. You need to know simple things like, okay, you're sitting in that chair is broken, and you get up and you're like, start limping because your back is hurting. People, start simple. If you're thirsty, drink some water, have some electrolytes. You're hungry, eat something. If you have roof over your head, you've got electricity, you've got air conditioning, you've got heat in the winter, you have food in the refrigerator, you have a modicum of health and self-respect, you are in the top 1% of the world. You're rich. Start seeing it like that. And then you can allot your time, energy, resources, money, contribution, services accordingly. Okay. So, but not at the sake of yourself, because if you're drained, what are you going to give? Unless you're crawling to work going, I can do that for you. No, just knock it off. But also Saturn represents skin, teeth, nails, bones, hormones. So what part of you needs help? If you've got Saturn transiting your 6th house, what part of you needs help? And are you going to allow it? And so there might be too much medication in your body, even herbs or homeopathy, although you can never OD on homeopathy, but research things. Saturn loves to research. They want to have the best, highest ideal going on. So what can you do to help yourself? And then we move to the 12th house, and we're looking at, what is it that makes you feel limited and restricted? What part of your psyche is saying, no, I'd rather drink alcohol or chew edibles because I can't handle the stress? Well, where's the stress coming from? What restrictions have you put on yourself to create this barrier between you and ease? If you have created a barrier between you and effortless, it's in your psyche that did it. The 12th house is the house of healing, yes, but the psyche. And it also deals with imprisonment, mental imprisonment, physical incarceration. And so if you have this way of being that says, and it's an addictive way that says, I work so hard, I deserve to be a weekend warrior. I will eat as much sugar as I can possibly hold, all the carbs I want. I'll have some wine with breakfast, lunch, and dinner only on the weekends. Then I'm good to go for the rest of the week. Okay, whoa. What would be the extreme? I meditate all the time. I do yoga poses. I starve myself. I hide. there's an imbalance. So you want to, yeah, take care of your body. But what is the thing behind the thing? That's what I like to look at. What is the impetus? What is the part of your brain that says, no, we can't do that. We're not. Oh, no. Whether it's a fun thing or a detrimental thing. What part of you is saying, put the brakes on, but then doesn't explore how it can benefit you? If you've been working all your life and someone says, go on vacation, you have like 6 years of vacation time. Why don't you take it? It's okay. I just want to get this one more thing done. Is that why you came to this earth? Everybody's here for a different reason. There's not a judgment. But if it's affecting your health, your mental health, your physical health, if your hormones are like, oh man, I'm wrecked. I'm just exhausted all the time. I can't think straight. I have brain fog, blah, blah, all that stuff. Then you want to check, my body, because a Saturn thing, has just gone through an aging process. Have I gained wisdom from it? Or am I still limited? That's what you want to check in this house. If Saturn is transiting your 12th house, you want to make sure that you have a body, mind, spirit combination practice that brings you into the body, helps to stretch the body, release it of tension and limitations, and then looks forward to the next adventure. To get more, I haven't offered a reading in a while. In September, mid-September, I will be offering the eclipse readings. But right now, I want to help you to heal and transform your life and to see where exactly this particular configuration is happening in your world. So please check this out. It is the Saturn in Pisces Retrograde reading that'll take you through the end of the year. And I'm also including the upcoming Mercury in retrograde around the Lion's Gate into this reading. So this is going to be Saturn in retrograde in Pisces, the Lion's Gate, which we're just entering now, July 26th through August 12th. And then we're going to extend this Lion's Gate reading into the end of the year on how to actually transform this energy that we've been talking about, how to stop limiting yourself. I'm going to say unlimit yourself. Be limitless. Okay, that took me a minute, but I want you to be able to be limitless. And to when I say to people, oh yeah, it would be so simple if you just had some electrolytes because you seem dehydrated. And they're like, yeah, I know. I drink a lot of water. It's like, well, if you drink a gallon of water a day, you are flushing out all your nutrients. So sometimes it takes a little tweak and sometimes it's a major adjustment because it's about retiring from an old way of being, excuse me, and embracing what's next. We all go through these humps. Now, the last time, last year in 2023 is when we had the same time frame, June through November, excuse me, was the Saturn in retrograde. And way before that, it was January 1994 through April of 1996. Saturn was in retrograde in Pisces. So I want you to take a look at that time frame. If you were on the earth at that time, go back and say, what did that time frame hold for me? Because you're going to see a resurgence of it, reevaluate, renegotiate, reinstate, or release. It's time to let that go. And if it's about getting that sense of maturity and wisdom that Saturn represents, remember the planets aren't doing anything to you. This is all about you owning the fact that you are the boss of you. Did no one ever tell you that? And that you don't have to be so hard on yourself and work so hard all the time. In Pisces, it's lighten up, honey. Come on. Sing that song. I remember being in the supermarket with our kid. They're 25 now, Aaliyah. But when they were little, I'd put them in the car. And I don't mean like little. Let's just say like, 5 through 10. I'd put them in a shopping cart and I'd wheel them around and we'd have races. As long as there were no other people around. We didn't want to cause any ruckus, but we had fun. And it's about remembering to have fun, but to harmonize it, not to have fun all the time. Woohoo, we're going to have fun tonight and make that night last for 18 years. Then your body's hurting and, you're struggling on some level, teeth, skin, bones, spine, hormones, and ankles with Neptune as well, shins, the knees, Saturn, joints. So you want to be able to feel great in your body, to harmonize spiritually, utilizing meditation and music, frequency, vibration to help move that energy. So we're going to go through all that in your chart, looking at how we can go to the next level without struggle, to make it effortless. I'm here to help you to do that. So check out the Lionsgate reading. It's going to be so fun because I'm going to show you spiritual techniques to do, building your intuition techniques, and also helping you to limit the negative aspects of addiction, addicted to work, addicted to pain, addicted to a chemical substance. And there's no judgment on any of it. We all experience something. But sometimes you just won't let yourself relax. Or if you do, you have a judgment against, oh no, I shouldn't lie down at noon, on my day off. Well, who says? You are the boss of you. And I want to help you remember that. All right, folks. That was Saturn and Pisces retrograde through the houses. And remember to click that link and get that reading situated on your calendar, because things are spinning and they're growing. And it's very exciting what's coming, especially with this Lionsgate, because the great spiritual sun is really going to be shining a light, and we're going to feel that energy. It's going to feel like an open door, and you don't want to miss it because it fast tracks things, facilitates things, if you're paying attention, which I know you are. Okay, folks, thank you. I thank you for being here. As always, I wish you peace, and I will see you next time.